Dober dan in dobrodošli. So welcome and hello. We are very glad to see you in such a number on our online webinar. My name is Andrei. I would like to greet you also on behalf of Visit Good Place tour agency. As you know, this time online is generally dedicated to presentation of our cycling and hiking tours, which are on offer. As you can see on the screen, I'm not alone. There's also my colleague from the office, Sarah. Hello, Sarah.
Hi, everyone.
So Sarah will be here to welcome any of you joining us a little bit later, and she will also be able to answer some of your questions, which may appear during the webinar via a chat section of this meeting. But as I told you in the very beginning, I suggest you to wait a little bit with your questions because I am pretty much convinced that we will answer many of them if they are not very specific during the webinar itself. And additionally, we have a general list of, let's say, a little bit more specific questions at the very end of it. Once again, just allow me to repeat, the webinar is being recorded, so you're all getting the records of this presentation via email later on. So I wish you all great fun in this hour and a half, I guess, so long we will be together. And I hope I will be as interesting as possible because I would really like to present to you the jewels which we can offer you in this part of Europe. I'm sure that some of you already know Slovenia and Croatia in Central Europe. For many of you, it would be the first time to visit. We are very happy here to live in such a beautiful part of the continent, which is amazing, especially for outdoor enthusiasts. And yeah, definitely the best way to explore Slovenia, Croatia, and surrounding countries is by bike or on foot, because in this sense you get the real impression about not only about the landscape, which is gorgeous, but also about the people you meet and about history, food, good wine, and so on. So let's dive in. As I said, just a short presentation about myself. My name is Andrei. As I said, I'm part of the Visit Good Place team. I work at the agency mostly as geographer and cartographer. So with my colleague Mattia, who is not with us today, we are responsible for map creation. We develop, let's say, new tour proposals, and we create maps which are, let's say, the basis for orientation on the tours. Let the tours be guided, self-guided, or some other forms of them. I already have some experience in this field because for the last 20 years or something like that, I work in tourism. I spent many years as guide, also bike guide and tour guide. And also, I have big passion in outdoor sports, privately, in my private life, in my free time, especially mountain biking, road cycling, and trail running, plus some mountaineering and so on. Okay, just a couple of words about our agency. By the way, I forgot to tell you another thing. We would strongly recommend you, if you are interested to join us, to follow us on our social media. Sarah, my colleague, will post, or she did it already, the links into the chat section where you find us on Instagram, Facebook, and other social media. And additionally, our website, visitgoodplace.com, also has the whole information about the tours which we are going to present right now. So If you will skip some information during the webinar, especially technical data or data connected with pricing, dates of guided tours, and so on, you find everything when you visit our website, and you will find different parts of the website, including the tour info, the bike rental conditions and options you have with us, and so on. So we are a small local agency based in Slovenia's capital, in Ljubljana. We operate as a boutique agency, so small staff, and we also want to introduce our tours to guests who want something more, not just passing by with some, let's say, classical tourism, but we want to help you dive into the local traditions, into the countries themselves, into landscapes, and we do it with great passion because we are more or less all in the team also passionate cyclists or hikers ourselves. So our agency Visit Good Place was the first B Corp certified company in Slovenia. B Corp is the highest sustainability standard in the world. So sustainability is one of our, let's say, main characteristics. We always want to present green destinations and to promote sustainable tourism and sustainable way of visiting places. We got some very important, very good ratings on TripAdvisor, Google, and Facebook, as you can see, and we were recognized by some very important world media, which you can see enlisted at the bottom of this page. What we will do right now in this webinar, so we will talk about our tours in Slovenia and Croatia. Most of the tours I'm going to present to you are cycling tours. When I say cycling, I mean very different types of cycling. So we are talking about touring, so cycling meant for people to enjoy the landscape in passionate way, without too much stress, without too much, let's say, cycling skills, because we would like to let you time to enjoy the countryside and have enough time for tastings, sightseeing, meeting people, and so on. Then there is the gravel section. Gravel tours are becoming or have become very important and very popular in these places, especially because Slovenia and Croatia have, let's say, enormous network of very good gravel roads which take you through the landscapes. So this is really a good option to dive into the landscapes and the countryside here. Then, of course, there is the mountain bike section, which is the skilled section, because mountain bikers are those who come here mostly to enjoy, let's say, technical trails through the countryside. I will also introduce you some tours from our hiking program, especially in Slovenian Alps. Then we will talk about road cycling. This is a section which we are developing right now and is already available in 2026. Then just a couple of words about Transdanarica. This is our most important multinational project, network of trails developed and connected across the countries of Western Balkans. And at the end, of course, every meeting is good if it ends with some surprise, plus the questions and answers. Okay, I will show you some maps because I'm a geographer, I must do it. We have developed in the last years a very, let's say, dense network of tracks connecting Slovenia, Croatia, and also other neighboring countries. If you look on the map on the left side, of course, this is the Adriatic Sea. For those of you who are maybe not so familiar with this part of Europe, Slovenia is here in the center, Croatia is to the southeast of Slovenia, and here we have Italy to the west and Austria to the north, plus Hungary here in the northeast. This is the frame in which to put our countries. And as you can see here, it's a dense network of tracks. Some of them begin in Austria or in Italy, but mostly we are talking about Slovenia and Croatia. Altogether, more than 86,000 of kilometers of tracks available, and then we pack these tracks into tours which we offer to you. So what's on offer? 6 different options from our touring program. Then we have 5 and 2 additional new gravel cycling tours, 5 mountain bike tours, 2 options are available in our hiking section. Then, as I mentioned to you a couple of minutes ago, completely new tailor-made option of road cycling. A little bit more about that further on. And also one specialty for all of you who are maybe interested in meeting some brown bears in person. You can join us on the wildlife watching tour in Slovenia. Okay. I told you about the different character of the tours. Now I would like to tell you how or which options do you have to, let's say, to join on our tours. Our tours can be guided. We have a very good team of local guides here in Slovenia and Croatia. I'm talking about people with great experience in cycling and in guiding, plus hiking, of course. Guided tours are, I would say, our most important section, because if you join us on the guided tour, you get more. You get more in sense of getting familiar with the landscape, with the history, with local cuisine, with traditions. Our guides are also there to give you technical support, which can be and is many times, of course, let's say, needed on cycling tours. We all know this because we have experience with this, let's say, problems and solutions. If you join us on guided tour, you can cycle or hike and enjoy completely without stress, because there are other people who will take all the organization for you and who will take care about your day on the tour, which means that you will also enjoy some specialties which we only offer on guided tours, which means that you will be taken to visit some local craftsmen, some wineries, some special, I don't know, farmhouses which produce some local delicacies, and so on and so on. Plus, of course, if you join us on the guided tour, we will take care about choosing the best possible bike-friendly accommodation along the route. And yeah, this is why I would join a guided tour if I were on your position. But of course, we also offer self-guided options, which means that you are on the tour alone. We provide you a lot of technical organization, more details later, and most importantly, we give you the navigation pack, which supports you navigating through the landscape on your own. And of course, we take care about local transports, luggage transfer, and so on. Additionally, we have tailor-made options, which means that some of you may want to join us as a group of friends or relatives or something else, and you would like to maybe change a little bit what's on offer. Here we can come, let's say, we can come and meet you with some, let's say, corrections or tailored itineraries. If you join us on a self-guided tour, you will also join us on extensive online briefing before the tour, which means that you will probably meet me or some of my colleagues online as we do it now, and you will go through all the details about the tour which you are going to make on your own when you come here. As I said, we find the best places for accommodation since we are sustainable agency and we would like to share these ideas to our guests as well. We always aim to avoid bigger hotel resorts or, if I can say so, classic accommodation because we aim to welcome you in some, let's say, smaller accommodation, family-run businesses, places which are listed under the mark of green destinations, which means that they are sustainable. They run the sustainable politics on their own. And yeah, we have experience in this field many years already, so we know the places, we know the families who run these businesses. There is couple of years long cooperation between them and us, so we can guarantee you that they are, of course, what's most important for us, bike-friendly locations with all the services which are important for cyclists. As I said, we organize you luggage transfer on the tours, which means that you don't need to care about your luggage because you just prepare it in the morning in the hotel and our guys transfer everything to the next location. So when you finish the daily stage, you come to the next hotel or accommodation and your luggage is already waiting for you there. We organize you the return transfer when you finish the tour, I don't know, a couple of hundred kilometers away from your starting point. We bring you back to the starting point or to the airport or to the capital city of Ljubljana or some other places which may be on your wish list. We offer you bike rentals. As I said, you can check our website and you will see exactly what kind of bicycles we offer you to rent if you don't come here with your own bike. And I'm talking about completely different options because we have gravel bikes, we have touring bikes, we have e-bikes, we have classical mountain bikes and some other things. Navigation pack is very interesting. I will show it right now. As you can see here, if you do the self-guided tour, we provide you all the information which you download completely without additional costs on your mobile phone, or if you wish this, also to some other navigation devices like Garmin and so on. These tracks which we give you are very rich because it's not just the line on the map which you need to follow. It is filled with actually thousands of points of interest because we have worked hard in last years to make a detailed list about everything what's important for the cyclist or hiker on the field, which means that you get information about restaurants, hotels, mountain huts, farm stays, information centers, groceries, bike shops, and so on and so on. And when you cycle and when you have this on your mobile phone or navigation device, these points of interest simply pop out and you find them along your route. So as I said, this mobile app, we work with right with GPS, which is quite famous, especially in the States, I guess. And we only have, I must say, very good experience with them. So you get the free mobile app, which you simply download, and then you download the maps which we send you, and you don't have any additional cost with that because you don't need additional package which would cost you some additional money or something like that. And most importantly, the maps you are going to have on your mobile devices are also available offline, which means that you simply download them at home, and when you come here you just start with navigation without internet connection, without additional costs which would come from this point of view. Okay, Let's go to some nice photos now. Why would someone decide to come exactly to Slovenia and uh, Croatia? So, couple of words about Slovenia. First of all, we are not a big place. If you search for us on the map, you will see we are quite squeezed between bigger neighbors, but we are still very, very proud on our country, especially because of the landscapes. The diversity is amazing. I would always say, yeah, you can visit other alpine nations for beautiful mountains. You can visit other Mediterranean countries for the beautiful coastline. But what you get if you come to Slovenia, you have everything packed in a small size, which means we have slice of Alps, we have slice of the Mediterranean coast, we have the plains in the east, plus we have beautiful wine growing regions, as you can see them on the photo here in the bottom right, and we have huge forests. Slovenia is one of the greenest nations in Europe, not just in sense of the politics, but also in real sense of, let's say, landscape color, because 60% of our territory is covered by forests, and greenery is something which is a kind of trademark of the country. So come to Slovenia and you will get very different landscapes in very short distances, which is simply great for cycling and hiking because you don't need to cross enormously long distances to get something completely different. Just a short movie clip here. How does cycling look like in Slovenia? These are Slovenian mountains with also quite important history to show you. Beautiful rivers, which are going to cross when you visit vineyards, great food, of course. We are on the crossroads of Europe somehow because we have completely different neighbors. We are squeezed between, let's say, Germany and Austria in the north, Italy in the west, Balkans in the southeast, Hungary in the east. And this also resembles not only in the landscapes, but also in local traditions, in language, in food, in many other details. So Slovenia is, of course, perfect for outdoor sports. Let it be cycling, hiking, swimming, water sports. As I mentioned to you, we have beautiful glacial lakes. We have part of the Mediterranean coastline. And our tours, most importantly, are designed in such way that they give you enough time to relax during the tour or especially after you finish the daily stage, because the stages always finish in the places which are not just accommodation to spend the next night, but they also offer you plenty of things to see, to try, to enjoy in the waters, in the viewpoints, in the wine tastings, whatever. The cycling infrastructure is good. We have built the extensive network of cycling trails, as you can see it here in the bottom left. So we are talking about cycling paths which are completely, let's say, away from the trafficked roads and only reserved for cyclists. Many trails follow the big rivers, which is of course very pleasant. Such ways give you plenty of beautiful views around. And in many cases, we take you on smaller local roads, as you can see it here in the wine country region in the upper right corner. When we are talking about local roads, it's very important that we always choose the roads which have as little traffic as possible. It doesn't mean that you won't meet a car there, but it means that you will feel almost free, almost on the cycling path, although it's not cycling path officially. And yeah, of course, local food, which is a mixture of tastes, is typical for Italy, Austria, Balkans, and Pannonian Plains. Many places you can visit in Slovenia offer you traditional food, and very importantly, they offer you traditional food with modern approach. In the last years, we are very proud on plenty of restaurants which are enlisted on, for example, Michelin guidebooks with the Michelin stars. So for all of you who are maybe a little bit more into foodie experience, you also have these options when you visit Slovenia. And of course, another reason for our national pride are our cycling stars. It's a wonder for many people, but not for us living here, because we know the landscapes, we know the traditions, we know how passionate Slovenians are for the sports. So it's not such a big surprise that the small nation of 2 million people has given the world such stars as Primož Roglič or Tadej Pogačar, especially, plus Matej Mohorič, Jan Tratnik, and many other guys who are, let's say, ruling the cycling world in the recent years. We are talking about Tour de France, Giro d'Italia, Spanish Vuelta, and other important competitions. And most importantly, when you visit Slovenia, you will also visit some places which are and were training ground for these guys on the photos. So you will actually follow them, and maybe you can even meet them, because it's not so impossible. It happens that people meet these guys on the road as well. Okay, let's move to Croatia, which is just to the south of Slovenia. Many people know Croatia's coastline, which is one of the most beautiful in Europe. I'm talking about Adriatic Sea coastline, a wonder of nature, but it's not just that. If you dive into Croatia, you don't need to dive in only into its waters. You can also dive into the landscapes behind, and they have beautiful hilltop villages. They have amazing wine regions. They also have a lot of greenery and a lot of history to explore. Here you can see some details from Croatia. The country is just across the sea from Italy, from the center of former Roman Empire and former Venetian Republic. So in the local architecture, you will admire many buildings which resemble the times of great empires in the past, such as Roman amphitheater here in the city of Pula, or Venetian-style coastal towns in Istria. The weather, of course, is one of the main advantages of Croatia, because they have long summers, mild winters, and very pleasant shoulder seasons. So let you come in the spring or in the autumn, you will enjoy splendid weather along Croatian coastline. And if you come in summertime, for example, when the coastline gets a little bit too hot to cycle, we would suggest you to move inland, because there are enough opportunities to enjoy, let's say, a little bit lower temperatures, which are perfect for cycling through Croatian forests and hilltop villages and similar. Couple of more photos. As I mentioned before, not just Slovenia, but also Croatia is full of gravel roads of very good quality. And these gravel roads sometimes take you through the landscapes which seem quite impossible to reach from distance, because we are talking about rocky limestone mountains or steep hill slopes or mountain slopes. But you will always be surprised how technically the roads were built through such landscapes. And of course, it's completely clear that you get tremendous views when you cycle or stop on the viewpoints. Also Croatia, also Croats are very proud on their cuisine. Of course, number one is definitely the Mediterranean cuisine, because they have such a long coastline. When I say they, please understand me, I'm talking from Slovenian point of view, because I'm based in Slovenia, but we are neighbors, we are friends, and I could also say we, because this is also how we operate as an agency. It doesn't mean that we would like to favorize Slovenia. We would like to promote both countries together as great cycling and hiking destinations. Croatia is also very famous for truffles, as you can see here in the bottom left, especially the Istrian Peninsula is one of the most important truffle grounds in Europe, apart from France and Italy. So this is also a great opportunity to enjoy if you are into truffles. Another short video clip from Croatia. Most importantly, gravel roads following the coastline or beautiful viewpoints just above the coastline, entering the cities, going into the forests. Croatia has 8 national parks, which are mostly connected with water, rivers, waterfalls, and so on. But on the other hand, you have kind of rocky deserts, as you can see here on this clip. So gravel roads taking you through landscapes which are completely barren, but they offer you possibilities for impossibly beautiful views around. Okay, let's go to the tours themselves. I would like to walk you through the different segments, different sections, and let's start with our Bike Slovenia Green tours. Slovenia Green is a certificate dedicated to sustainable destinations. Let it be regions, municipalities, tourist regions, or local, let's say, accommodation providers who go through quite, let's say, a detailed process to gain this Slovenia Green certificate, which proves them that they are really sustainable. They are, let's say, dedicated to develop green type of tourism, and they share this idea to their guests as well. So when I say Slovenia, Bike Slovenia Green Tours, I would like to say that our tours take you past such destinations. You will spend your night in the accommodation, which is part of Slovenia Green Certification Scheme. You will visit local providers which are in the system and so on. We always want to support local services, so we cooperate with people living in the region. We don't want to do something from top to bottom, but we always start in the basis. We know the people who live there, we know their experience, and we know their passion that they offer to their guests. So they are our most important, let's say, local cooperators and friends, I must say. We always promote green way of travel. Some of our tours include some train connections because we would like to avoid some sections which are maybe too hard for the visitors crossing high mountain passes and so on. In this sense, we plan part of the tour using train system. Trains are always green over bus or car shuttles. We promote the avoidance of use of single-use plastics. So one important thing in Slovenia and Croatia, water is of very good quality. And when you will join our tours, you can feel completely free of drinking tap water in the accommodations or in the bars along the route, or water from local, let's say, alpine springs in the mountains. We are very proud of good quality of water. So buying bottled water is something you can do when you are here, but you don't need to, because the water which is available on the route is of very good quality. Okay, some maps again. Our touring program. So this is for everyone who wants to not only cycle, but also to enjoy the landscapes, to have, let's say, shorter daily stages, to have less elevation gain meters, and to leave themselves enough time to enjoy wine tastings, visiting local architectural monuments, stopping in the cities, talking with people if they want, discovering their heritage. We also work with people who come back to Slovenia because their ancestors came from this part of the world, from Slovenia or Croatia. And such tours of our touring program give you enough time and options to enjoy more than just, let's say, gaining kilometers. These tours are of different length, between 6 and 11 days. We always plan them on local roads, which are paved, so no stress with riding on an uneven surface. If there are gravel sections, we always search for the best gravel, which means that you don't have, as I say, rolling stones along the route. Maybe just in the music, but not under the bicycle. And you can feel free just to enjoy the views and you don't need to pay so much attention on the riding surface. The stages are half day long because afternoons are dedicated to other types of pleasure which you may afford. The tours are well assigned for gravel bikes or touring bikes, which may be classic or battery supported. As I said, you don't need a big fitness level for these tours. You don't need to be a cycling champion to join us here. Also, technical difficulty is low, maybe medium at most. Definitely, we are not talking about some difficult roads. The stages are between 35 and 40 kilometers long, and you gain on average up to 400 meters of elevation meters per day. And of course, the highlights here are the landscapes, history, UNESCO site, national parks, and other attractions. This is one of our tours, which is our classic, Istria to the Adriatic. So it is based on the biggest peninsula in the Adriatic Sea, shared by Slovenia, Croatia, and Italy, just opposite from Venice, just across the Adriatic Sea from Venice. This tour is one of those which we always recommend as a guided tour, because if you join us on a guided tour here, you will explore these parts further on, because there is so much history, there is so much local traditions, local differences. There are so many little gems along the route which you may skip if you are traveling alone, although they are signed on the navigation system. But still, if you join us with our guides, we can guarantee you that you will have even something more on this tour. And for example, this year on the 10th of May, one of our Istria to the Adriatic tours will be organized with one of our best guides we have in the team. So this tour is definitely the best for all of you who want to dive into landscape diversity plus very rich history, because you will start the tour in Italy. You will cross the borders 3 times. So first from Italy to Slovenia, then from Slovenia to Croatia, and then at the end back from Croatia to Slovenia, what you can also see on this little map on the right side. So as I said, just 100 kilometers away from Venice on the opposite side of the Adriatic. And as you can see, the tour makes a big loop here, taking you also inland. So you will not only be on the Adriatic shore, but you will explore the hilltop towns of Croatian hinterland here, mostly following the old railway line, which was refurbished into a great cycling trail away from the roads and with beautiful bridges, tunnels, and viewpoints. Some more photos from this tour. This is the former railway line on the upper left corner, which is maybe the most representative photo for what you will experience on this tour, plus vineyards, hilltop towns, great food, and so on. This is the next tour, which is a kind of an upgrade from Istria to the Adriatic, but upgrade in a sense of food and great destinations. This tour offers you a little bit more in sense of enjoying great food and staying in the best accommodations along the route. So here we have searched for the best, mostly family-run hotels, which offer you all the luxury you may wish on such a tour. Of course, to be on the honest side, this tour is a little bit more expensive, and it offers you more or less very similar cycling than the previous one, but with the difference of, let's say, a little bit more luxury. And one of such details which are here on offer is, of course, truffles, because you will cross on both tours, of course, you will cross the heartland of Croatian truffle hunting region. The tour is a little bit extended, so the previous one just takes place in the northwestern section of Istrian Peninsula. This one starts in the Italian city of Trieste, and then it takes you across Slovenia and all the way down to the city of Pula on the tip of the peninsula. The city of Pula is the one which is proud on its famous Roman theater, which I showed you on one of the photos a couple of minutes ago. And you can see it here also one more time in the upper left corner. And this is one example of accommodation which we offer you on this tour. So very nice hotels with beautiful views to the old towns like the town of Rovinj, which you can see here in the middle, or accommodation with great swimming pools in the Istrian countryside, surrounded by olive orchards, vineyards, and other stuff, which is another, let's say, base for the local pride in Istria. Okay, let's go to some of the classics. Let's go back to Slovenia. Alps to Adriatic is probably our most, let's say, popular tour, because it offers you on one scale everything I mentioned in the previous minutes, especially the landscape diversity of Slovenia, because you will start this tour high in the mountains, close to Austrian border, and then you will cycle all the way down to the Adriatic Sea coast in 6 stages, which are, of course, not too long, as you can see here. And you will enter completely different landscapes. We can guarantee you that every day you will have different type of landscapes. So from high mountains over some passes, beautiful forests, some of the most beautiful river valleys in the country. Then you will come to Goriška Brda, which is Tuscany-like wine region on Italian border. Then you will cross the Vipava Valley and the karst section of the route. We are talking about a limestone plateau full of the most beautiful underground caves in Europe, I can say. One of the highlights of this tour is also the visit of the Scotian Caves, which is a UNESCO protected natural phenomenon here close to the Adriatic coastline. And of course, you will finish the tour with diving into the Adriatic Sea on Slovenian coastline. This is another tour which we strongly recommend you joining us on the guided option, because once again, the guides are those who will help you experience this tour the most. And for example, this year we have 2 guided tours available, one starting on May the 24th and the other one on June the 7th, if we are talking about approaching spring options. So here you can see the map. The tour follows the western part of Slovenia, parallel to Italian border, and one section in between, you see there is the line which is interrupted. This is one example of train connection, because the landscape here is a little bit too demanding to cycle because of high mountain passes. So we do the crossing by train, but this train also gives you options to be left a little bit earlier, so you can still make the cycling stage of the day a little bit longer if you wish. And this is all in the details which we explain you, of course, when you book the tour. Some photos, some impressions from the tour: mountain lakes, wine regions, one of the happy groups on the guided tour here in the bottom right. And let's go to the next one. This is actually one of the longest tours we offer, Slovenia Gourmet. tour. The name tells you a lot because this tour takes you past different regions in Slovenia with different culinary traditions. So the stages again are short enough to give you enough time to explore and enjoy the local food, because you can visit plenty of not just restaurants but also of local producers of different traditional and typical food for each region, like famous prosciutto, which is a dried ham in the karst region close to Italian border, or great wines of Steierska region in the east of Slovenia. The start and the end of the tour is in Slovenian capital, in Ljubljana. And as I said, the stages are easy enough. They don't require great fitness skills. There are not so many elevation meters. Once again, if you would like to dive into every detail, I suggest you to visit our website, because there you can open the tour stage by stage, day by day, and see the kilometers and meters or mileage for every single day. We start, as I said, in Ljubljana, in the capital. Then we organize you a transfer to the west of the country. The first part of the tour takes place in the western side, close to Italy. Then you see once again the interrupted line, which is a train transfer to the east. The second half of the tour is in the completely different landscapes, full of wineries and spa towns, thermal waters, and so on, in the eastern part of the country, just before returning by train to the capital city. Here you can see some photos from the western part of the tour, which means great alpine rivers, a view over Slovenia's capital, Ljubljana, with the Alps in the background, some karst towns, stone-built houses on the hilltops and so on, and one of the most beautiful cycling tracks in the country. Okay, another long tour, which is possible to divide in two halves. So here we are taking you into the thermal waters, because eastern part of Slovenia, sorry, is very proud on thermal water. And there are many spa towns which are included in this tour, which of course we have named a wellness route. And it is divided in two sections. It's the northern section and southern section. The northern one gets closer to the Alps, and the southern one takes you through the wine regions. They are both, let's say, typically long, 7 or 6 stages, a little bit under 300 kilometers each. And of course, you can combine them. You can do one long tour at once of 13 days, or you can just take let's say one half of it, and you choose between the northern or southern section. The stages lead you along bike trails or local roads, once again away from traffic, because this part of the country in the east has a very dense road network, and there is always plenty of choice to avoid high trafficked roads and taking easy and peaceful, let's say, cycling lanes instead. Another important issue considering this tour, here I will show you the map, is that some people, or many people we can say, don't prefer highly touristed regions. And in Slovenia, many people visit, let's say, western part of the country, which is quite famous for having the capital, Ljubljana, Lake Bled, the Soča Valley, for those of you who are familiar with these place names, and Slovenian coastline. Everything mentioned is in the west of the country. If you would like to avoid the most touristed places, then the eastern part of Slovenia is a solution for you, because here you will hardly meet many people on the roads. Yeah, of course, you will meet people visiting the spa towns, but you will spend most of your days cycling more or less alone, or only meeting let's say, limited number of people on the cycling trails. Here you can see what I was talking about. This is the northern part of the route, Alpine Wellness route. And from this point where Slovenia, Austria, Croatia, and Hungary meet, you can begin the second part of the tour, the wellness and wine country tour to the southeast of Slovenia. The photos represent completely different landscapes, historic towns, and spa towns. Okay, the next section is, I'm sorry. The next section is dedicated to gravel enthusiasts. And here you can see the map showing you, let's say, Slovenia plus Western Balkans. As I mentioned to you before, we have a great opportunity for all gravel lovers because we are on the meeting point of two big mountain chains. Here, of course, in the northwest, you have the Great Alps stretching to Slovenia from Italy, Austria, Switzerland, and other parts of Europe. And right in Slovenia, they meet with the Dinaric Alps. You can see the name here. This is another mountain chain which follows the Adriatic coastline all the way down through Croatia, Bosnia, Montenegro, and Albania, almost down to the famous Greece, of course. And both mountain chains, are full of hundreds of kilometers of great gravel roads, which give you the great opportunity to explore them. And here we have a different type of tours, which are maybe a little bit longer, between 7 and 9 days, based on, of course, gravel roads, but still there are some paved asphalt sections during the day. The most appropriate bikes for these tours are, of course, gravel bikes. You can bring your own bike, or we have a big fleet of gravel bikes on offer to rent you in our agency. The fitness level here is a little bit higher than in the touring program, which we were discussing before, because here we are already having a little bit more in sense of elevation gain. You can see daily stages between 800 and 1000 meters of elevation gain. And also the stages themselves are a little bit longer, around 50 kilometers. So medium fitness level and technical difficulty are, let's say, appropriate for these tours. And highlights the same as with other programs here, mostly the stunning landscapes and history. Once again, not to dive too much into the details here. Okay, the first tour I would like to present to you is Best of Slovenia gravel, of course. 7 stages, 400 kilometers, and almost 8,000 meters of elevation gain. Based, of course, on gravel roads, especially in the Julian Alps, in the northwest corner of Slovenia. I will show you the map. The tour actually begins on the Austrian side of the border, just across the border, where 3 countries meet, Slovenia, Austria, and Italy. And then you follow rapidly changing landscapes, once again, all the way down to Slovenian coastline, with a short extension into Croatia to see some hilltop towns on Croatian side of the border. So in political and geographical sense, you will visit 4 countries, 4 states on this tour: Austria, Italy, Croatia, and mostly Slovenia. The photos show you the details from the tour. We also have such attractions like crossing old wooden bridges over the Socha River, which is the most beautiful river in this part of Europe. Emerald color river. You can see it here in the bottom left corner. Gravel roads look like this. When I say gravel roads, this is quite let's say, a typical question from the biker's point of view. The quality of gravel. The quality of gravel is high because we are not talking about rough roads with bigger stones. We are always talking about good quality of, let's say, smaller particles of gravel, especially on the right and left sides of the road. There is always a little bit more rough gravel in the middle, as you can see in this detail here, but the riding lines left and right are, of course, very smooth to ride. Plus, additionally, the gravel roads are mostly closed for all types of traffic. The only people who have permits to ride these roads by car are the forest owners, hunters, and people working in the forestry. But of course, we are talking about an extremely limited number of people. So you will enjoy these roads on your own without traffic disturbing you. Okay. Another tour is based in the Triglav National Park in the Slovenian mountains. So it's the only national park of Slovenia, which offers you tremendously beautiful landscapes. We are talking about limestone mountains, which reach the height of almost 3,000 meters. Slovenia's highest summit is Mount Triglav in the center of the national park. And if you will take this tour, it will take you across the mountain passes full of incredibly beautiful viewpoints. Don't expect too hard climbs because you are never going to get extremely high. What you can see here on this photo is actually the highest point, Vršič mountain pass, 1,600 meters above the sea level, but surrounded by dramatic mountain peaks, which gives you the best surroundings for the best photos you can imagine. Let's go on. The map. So we are all the time in the northwest of the country, within the borders of Slovenia, but very close to Italian and Austrian borders. Some impressions from the tour. The highlights include these wooden mountain cottages, which you will cross, meeting shepherds in the summertime, seeing herds of sheep and goats, or especially cows, and having great opportunities to taste local delicacies, especially cheese and other products on your way. This tour is dedicated for the lovers of a little bit more remote places. So here, if you join us on Slovenia Backcountry Gravel Tour, you will go a little bit away from the classical tourist points, and you will see the landscapes which have the same, let's say, dramatic beauty as the landscapes of the previous tours, but you will go through the places where you will mostly be alone. So to get more authentically into contact with local people, villages, and traditions, this is a tour for you. Maybe it's a little bit more demanding, to be honest, a little bit more of elevation gain and stage length, but it's worth because once again, you will see completely different things starting in the east of Slovenia. Remember, a couple of minutes ago, I was talking to you about spa towns and the vineyards of this part of the country. But in this case, you will only start there because the tour will then take you westwards along the border with Austria, crossing, first of all, the Pohorje Mountains, which is a green oasis of this part of Slovenia. Incredibly big forests, which give you the opportunity to enjoy the shadow in the possible summer heat elsewhere in the country. And then you have the high mountains here on the border, but technically extremely well driven and maintained gravel roads through this high mountain landscape, which will lead you all the way to Lake Bled, which is, on the other hand, of course, maybe the most famous place Slovenia has to offer, the famous lake with the island in the middle, which you can see here in the upper left photo of this presentation slide. Let's continue. Another photo from the Pohorje Mountains. I told you about great green forests. Then this is the upper right photo, and the one on the left in the middle are showing you the so-called panoramic road. It's probably the most beautiful road Slovenia has to offer, with incredible views on the Kamnik Mountains, And on the other hand, you have such gravel sections as this one here crossing the Alpine meadows close to Austrian border. This is our new product, Alpina Mediterranean Cycling Tour. The name tells you a lot. It's a connection between the Alps and the Mediterranean Sea, and it's also a connection between three countries because you will start in Italy, then you will cross Slovenia, and the last part, the last section of the tour will be full of pleasure offered to you by the Adriatic Sea in Croatia. It's an easy tour. It's an easy gravel tour because the stages here are relatively short. You can see the total length is under 300 kilometers and under 4,000 meters of elevation gain. And once again, as much as possible, we stay on the local roads, let them be gravel mostly, or local paved roads without too much traffic. All of this leading you through completely different landscapes practically every day. The highlights here include the Socha River Valley. Once again, the Socha is the most beautiful river in Slovenia. You will cross Lipica with the famous stud farm where the white Lipizan horses have their cradle. They were born here. They still continue with the tradition of breeding these famous white horses. UNESCO protected Scotian caves, and Opatija, let's say luxury resort on Croatian side of the border at the Kvarner Gulf as part of the Adriatic Sea. You can see the map here. As I said, beginning in Italy, Cividale del Friuli is not so famous, but it's incredibly beautiful little town on Italian side of the border, which was the first Lombard capital in present-day Italy. You know, the great people of Lombards coming here in the 7th century, settled down here, and the little town is full of their heritage. This is not a coincidence that Cividale was enlisted on UNESCO World Heritage List. Then you have Western Slovenia, which you already know from other tours as well, and ending the tour at the seashore of Croatia in Opatija. Here, some more photos. Cividale in Italy on the left, Slovenian Socha River here in the upper right corner. The best gravel roads in the region where I live. So this is my training ground, if you allow me a little joke. So I can guarantee you a lot of fun crossing this section, and of course cooling down at the Adriatic Sea in Croatia. Let's talk about Transdinarica. I will tell you more at the end, which we are approaching now. Transdinarica is one great product we have developed in recent years. Dinaric mountains are the mountain chain, as I said, stretching from Slovenia all the way down to Albania in the Western Balkans. And we have established the first long distance cycling connection between 8 countries of Western Balkans, and they are named Transdinarica. You can also visit the special website dedicated to it. The entire length of the Transdinarica is more than 3,000 kilometers, but we offer you 2 beautiful tours on 2 different sections of this Transdinarica. And the first tour is the combination of Slovenia and Croatia. So once again, it begins in Slovenia and it ends in Croatia, 7 stages, under 400 kilometers and a little bit more than 6,000 meters of elevation gain. Once again, crossing from the Alps across the wine regions of Slovenia, all the way down into the Adriatic part of neighboring Croatia, what you can see here. So mostly we are staying on great gravel, once again, taking you to some of the famous places like Šmartno. This is part of Slovenian Tuscany, as we call it, one of the most beautiful wine regions in this part of Europe with great wines. Postojna, the town which has the biggest tourist cave in Slovenia, which you will also visit taking part on this tour, and the Kvarner Gulf resorts here in Croatia, which are also dramatic in sense of landscape, because it's not just the seashore, but there are mountains immediately above the sea, what you can see here on this photo in the bottom left corner. And some more photos from the tour just before we continue to the next. Let's go a little bit southwards. This is a completely new and a little bit different product which we offer to those of you who are more, as it says here, adventure seekers. So here we are not talking about everyone who is into, let's say, comfortable cycling, where everything is well organized and there are almost no surprises to be expect from the weather or something like that. But if you join us on this tour, you must be prepared on a big adventure, because here we are crossing Croatian part of Transdinarica, and we are not crossing the resorts on the coast, which are very developed in tourist point of view, but we are taking you onto gravels in the hinterland. So away from major towns, away from plenty of accommodation, which means that we had some, let's say not issue, but challenge to find the best possible accommodation and to set the daily stages in such way that they are the best possible experience for you. This is also why we offer you this tour in a little bit different option. First of all, I would suggest you to join us on guided tour. So you will have a guide, you will have someone who will take care of everything important to provide you with just great fun in these great landscapes away from the crowds. But additionally, it's not just the guide, it's also the support van which will be with you all the time, which means that our driver will not be on the same road as you will be, but he will be or she will be in the very vicinity. So if anything happens in sense of technical issues, you will also have option to change the bicycle or to repair the issue on the bike. The van driver will also help you with buying supplies, which means some food and snacks, and providing water, because here we are talking about landscapes which are famously relatively dry, so the water sources here are scarce. But once again, you will have support person who will provide you everything along the daily stages. And you can do this tour, as I suggested, on a guided version, or you can also do it self-guided. Also, in this sense, we offer you the possibility to be alone on the stage, but to have the van driver close to you every day. Once again, not following you 10 meters behind, but being somewhere in the vicinity. If anything happens, you will have their contact, and they will help you resolving the issue. And for the biggest adventurers among you, of course, you can also do this tour completely alone, which means that you will have to not only enjoy the great part of Croatia, but also to be on your own if anything happens. But it's still a big adventure. It's still a big opportunity for everyone of you to enjoy this region in maybe the most authentic way I can say. Yeah. Okay, this is the placement of the tour. As I said, you will cross most of Croatia, yeah, but a little bit away from the famous coastal resorts. Maybe the famous city of Dubrovnik is here in the extreme south. Maybe many of you know the city of Split, with great Roman heritage, where the tour ends. But in between, you will be in the heart of Croatian mountains, away from the seashore and away from bigger towns. Some gems of this tour include national parks full of waterfalls, great river canyons with beautiful viewpoints, and most importantly, dramatic gravel roads crossing the landscape. Let's just look forward. This is something what we are developing right now, so it's not on offer yet. We will most likely finish the preparations by the autumn this year, but probably most of you who would like to join us on this tour, you will have this option in the coming year, which means in 27. This one will be even more adventurous because we will continue into Bosnia and Herzegovina, the heartland of Dinaric Alps. So this is completely new field, not for us because we know the region, because we have created the route through it, but it will be for you the completely new experience. Many would say the wild side of Europe, because the places which will be crossed by this tour will be completely authentic, away from every type of tourism as we know it in western part of Europe. So a great surprise, a great escape coming in future. Just this is just soon to be. Some photos from Bosnia, a lot of greenery there as well, and a lot of lonely roads when you will be on your own mostly all the time. Okay, let's talk about mountain biking. If there are mountain bikers among you, the best trails we offer you are in Slovenia and Croatia once again. And here we are talking about all of you who have greater skills, because the tracks here are of different technical difficulty, but mostly you must be prepared on some technical challenges, because we are talking about single tracks, narrow path through the landscape, which also requires some, let's say, greater skills on how to manage your bicycles when you go downhill. But to calm you down, it's not extreme. It's not extreme, far away from that. The trails are not exposed in sense of crossing open alpine landscapes where there would be a possibility to fall hundreds of meters to the precipice somewhere. No, we are mostly climbing the mountains on gravel roads, and we have descents on single tracks on the other side, but mostly through, let's say, easy landscapes of meadows and forests, as you can see on these little photos here, and I will show you some more photos soon. So what I'm talking about are the technical details, because the tracks can be and are rocky in some sections, but they are not of great exposure in sense of falling somewhere deep. Of course, we recommend you fully mountain bikes, full suspension mountain bikes. You can also do some of the tours with hardtail mountain bikes, but to be on the more comfortable side, sorry, I would recommend you the fullies in any sense. So the stages here are not extremely long, but they are of a big elevation gain. Mostly we are talking about more than 1,000 meters per day. But as I said, the climbs are mostly easy, but longer on the gravel roads, and then you descend on the other side. Yeah. This is our classical tour, the first one on our program, the one which we began with 12 years ago, Trans-Slovenia, crossing from the Alps to the Adriatic Sea in 400 kilometers and almost 10,000 meters of elevation gain, once again in the west of Slovenia, with some of the most diverse landscapes on offer. So starting actually once again in Austria, then crossing Slovenia with some shorter sections very close or just across Italian border in some senses, and then ending at Slovenian coastline. So you can see I showed you these bridges already. Now I show you the trails. This is one of the most beautiful descents here on the bottom left photo in the Julian Alps. So great pleasure. Narrow tracks without technical difficulties, with beautiful views around, and then one such trail also at the Adriatic shore right before you reach Piran, the conclusion point of the tour on Slovenian coastline. Transylvania number 2 is, let's say, a little bit easier option for those of you who would like to enjoy great landscape, who would like to enjoy the trails, but who would like to avoid the technical parts. Because here we spent longer kilometers on gravels, and the trails in between are, let's say, much easier. So we are not going so high, we are not going so steep, but you still see, let's say, the great landscapes of Slovenia. Plus, you have the sites to visit, especially the two beautiful glacial lakes of Bled and Bohinj, plus UNESCO World Heritage, the caves which I mentioned to you before, and the old mercury mine in the town of Idrija. So this is the map. So this tour is just a little bit to the east of the previous one. So we are not going to Italy, but we are a little bit more away towards the center of Slovenia. This is the city of Piran, where you finish the tour. These are some great landscapes in between, and the famous Lake Bled here, and one of the viewpoints, of course. Transylvania number 4 is a big adventure for those of you who would like to avoid the main tourist places. Once again, if I jump to the map, you will see that we are taking you from the northeast to the coast, still in Slovenia, of course, but we are avoiding the most famous places here in the west of the country and taking you through the Karavanke Mountains instead. Plus, you will also cross the capital city of Ljubljana, which is a very bike-friendly city, not just because of the cycling lines through the town, but because it's also one of the few European capitals which have bike parks on the outskirts of the city. So you will also be able to visit these bike parks, sorry, but not only, because the tour begins in the single trail park Jamnica, which is here on the Austrian border. And it's actually a great cycling region because we have two bike parks in very vicinity. One of them is in Slovenia, the other one is in Austria, and they allow you to have a great fun on some of the longest flow trails through the forests and through the viewpoints this part of Europe has to offer. And additionally, the biggest attraction of this beginning, the first part of the tour, is cycling if you decide so. I mean, it's not compulsory, but part of the tour allows you to go through the abandoned mine system. So you do part of the mountain biking underground, following the tracks through the old mine in the heart of the mountain. Here you can also see the photo here. This is the biggest attraction probably in the beginning of the tour. So you get the torch and you go through easy sections of the mine. So it's not dangerous, but it gives you an impression about how it looks like cycling underground. And this tour is also very green. So many sections of the tour, many stages are through the forests. So this tour is one of those which we recommend also in the peak season in summertime, when it is maybe too hot, too warm, closer to the Adriatic coastline. So you have a great escape a little bit further east. Let's move to Croatia. We have two mountain bike tours in Croatia. The first one is in the peninsula of Istria. So Istria is not just vineyards and truffles and a great coastline. It's also hundreds of kilometers of trails, which take you through all of what I mentioned before. So through the landscapes, and you will be mostly alone on these trails. The trails are partly technical in sense of rocks or bigger stones, but still the stages here are not, apart from one stage where the last stage is a little bit longer, but all the other stages are comfortable, and they allow you enough time for swimming or enjoying some great wines and food and so on. So 7 stages, 400 kilometers almost, and 6,000 meters of elevation gain. And the photo, the tour begins in Slovenia and it follows, let's say, the shape of the peninsula, partly inland, partly closer to the coastline, to the town of Pula, the Roman amphitheater town once again. And then you turn northwards. This eastern part of Istria is completely different from the western part. If it is full of tourists here in the west, it is very lonely, very remote in the eastern part. So I will show you here, you can expect some lonely bays, some beautiful opportunities to dive into the emerald, well, not emerald, but the deep blue waters of Adriatic Sea. And one of the highlights is the last stage here, crossing the highest mountain, the highest local mountain, Mount Uchka, with beautiful views around. So some photos, the lonely base I was talking about, hilltop towns, Roman heritage, and great food, which is already something I'm repeating myself mentioning. A little bit further south, another tour, Trans-Croatia Mountains to Islands. It's a mixture, as its name says. Part of the tour, one half of the tour follows the islands and the seashore. The other part, the other half, takes you to the mountains. I will show you where it takes place along the Kvarner Gulf, so to the east of Istria. It begins in the Croatia's third city in size, the city of Rijeka, and then you go inland. These are all big forests. So here you will be in complete shadow for the first 3 stages. You will also visit one of Croatia's national parks, the Northern Velebit mountain range national park, and then you will descend into the port. You will cross by ferry to the island of Rap. Here we have some really great cycling trails along the island, then another ferry crossing to the island of Krk, and you will do additional 2 loops on this island before the conclusion of the tour and the transport which we provide you back to the starting point. So some photos, a mixture of greenery, a mixture of forest, and barren islands. These islands here in this part of Croatia are famous for having, let's say, rocky landscape. So this is why I told you before that some sections of the trails can be a little technical. So this photo is maybe the best example. As I said, no big danger to fall somewhere, but still you need technical skills to cross all these little rocky details under your wheels. Okay, and this is now the really end of everything, almost. Another 2 tours in Slovenia, which we provide you and offer you for all the lovers of hiking. So we haven't forgotten about you. So the hiking tours are longer, 11 or 12 days. They are very scenic, and they are, let's say, relatively easy. So we are not going very high in the mountains. Don't expect crossing the highest summits. Don't expect some ferrata style crossings. Everything's easy. Everything is unexposed, and we give you a lot apart from hiking itself, because you go through history, you go through different landscapes, you have opportunities to relax in the waters, lakes, rivers, you have opportunities for local tastings, and so on. The required fitness level is medium to high. When we say high, you still must be prepared to hike for about 20 kilometers a day and to gain around 600 meters of elevation every day. The highlights, of course, are the landscapes, the national park, UNESCO sites, and history. So the first tour we offer you is Best of Slovenia Hiking. 10 stages around the national park, around Mount Triglav, which you can see here on this video on the left, following the most beautiful rivers, crossing the bridges. And yeah, if you are an experienced nature lover, you will simply have great times here on this tour in the northwest of Slovenia. The next one and the last one is the Walk of Peace. This is our historic trail. So unfortunately, the history of these places was not always very friendly, and Western Slovenia also was the scenery of some of the bloodiest battles of World War I more than a century ago. This was the front line between Austro-Hungarian Empire and Italy in these times. And of course, in the most beautiful landscape, some bloody battles took place. And what we have created in the recent years is the network of trails across these landscapes, which of course is properly named Walk of Peace, which is very important, especially in the times we are living. We all know how the world looks like today. But you come here mostly to enjoy the landscapes, to enjoy the views, but you will also dive deeply into the history of World War One. The route begins in Slovenian Julian Alps, and then in 10 stages, you will go all the way down to the Italian city of Trieste on Adriatic coastline, not so far away from Venice. And we also provide you one rest day in the historic town of Kobarid, which saw the most important, the most decisive battles of front line in World War One here in this part of Europe. You will learn a lot about it. So you can expect many places connected with events of World War One, open-air museums, cemeteries, memorial churches, museums, local weaponry collections, and so on. By the way, before we start answering other questions, one of the questions which I remembered was if we also provide trail running tours. Not in this very sense, but especially the hiking trails can also be appropriate for the trail runners. And we have experience from last year when some of our guests have decided to join us on our hiking tours, but as trail runners. And what we did or what we do in such case, we can, let's say, we can redevelop the stages in such sense that you do 2 stages in one day. Instead of one stage, you do 2 stages, and you can mostly do trail running across these stages. So the answer is, if we provide trail running tours, the answer is not directly, but some of the hiking tours can also be remodeled and made appropriate for trail runners. Just before we go to the questions and answers, just one short video clip about road cycling in Slovenia, because I will finish with a short mention of road cycling tours. Okay, let me just go back shortly. In the beginning, I mentioned you our champions, our national heroes like Tadej Pogačar and Primož Roglič and other guys. I would like to mention you something more here. Slovenia has seen the visits of World Tour cycling already, Italian long distance multi-stage competition of Giro d'Italia has visited Slovenia 3 or 4 times already, and they come here every second, third year recently because of importance Slovenia has for road cycling. But what we would like to do now is to invite you to join us on road cycling as well. This is our new product, so we are now stretching away from trails, gravel, and hiking, and we will provide you road cycling opportunities. This part of our offer will be, I should not talk in future tense, I should say in present, because it's already available. I would like to correct myself, not will, but it is available already. You can book road cycling tours with us. They are a little bit different. They are not set in advance, so we don't offer you multi-stage crossing of Slovenia, but we offer you, let's say, 5, 6 different base points in the country where you can be based and do local road cycling loops around. And then you change to the next base point, and we have, let's say, drawn the local loops on the roads for you as well in these sections. What's important to mention, you will see some of the most famous and legendary climbs Slovenia has to offer: mountain passes, ski slopes which are connected with asphalt roads. you will visit training grounds of Tadej Pogacar and other guys. You will follow the tracks used by Giro d'Italia, and most importantly, these base points are chosen in such way that you will change landscapes. You can start, for example, in Slovenian mountains. You can do a stop in Slovenian capital Ljubljana, and then you can finish somewhere close to Italian border or Adriatic Sea coastline to cycle road sections there. And here, of course, we are talking about uh, cycling stages which are longer, which is typical for road cycling, between 80 kilometers and I don't know 120 kilometers, but all on very good asphalt or pavement quality of the roads. Of course, we also provide you road bikes. If you don't come here with your own road bike, we have an offer of rental road bicycles. Okay, this is the real conclusion. The routes which were presented in the last hour or so are our original products, so you cannot find this with other agencies. The tours which I presented are our products. We cover 4 countries, which we mentioned many times, and as much as possible, we take you to certified providers included in Slovenia Green certification scheme. So most importantly, let's be sustainable, let's be green, let's be local, let's support local providers, and let's cooperate not just in providing you best tourism experience, but also in this green sense, which is important for all of us in future. I have mentioned to you Transdinarica already, the long distance cycling trail connecting 8 countries in the Western Balkans. I suggest you to get more details visiting our website connected to Transdinarica, where you can also buy tracks for different countries, different sections to cycle. We are very proud to be the first ones who have managed to connect the countries which didn't always have easy history. We all remember the wars which happened in the Balkan region in 1990s, but now here we have an extraordinary cycling product taking you through these countries and bringing you great adventure possibilities to go off the beaten track, to meet local people, and to enjoy beautiful roads. And you will not be the first, because we are proud to say that over 13,000 cyclists have already done it in the last 3 years, in the last 2 years actually, since the route was opened. And what's very important, we always work on updating the navigation pack, because we get information about new providers, new points of interest along the route, and we update the navigation packs every year. Yeah, I was a little bit long, but there is so much to tell about this beautiful region and about the possibilities you have here. We will be more than happy to know that you are happy because you have joined us. And according to our experience from the last years, I can guarantee you great joy and great experience joining us. But now, the last couple of minutes, questions and answers. As I said in the beginning, I have probably answered most of them along the route, but there are some of the questions which may remain unanswered up to this point. I also think I was not able to check in between, but probably my colleague Sarah has answered you or has written you something on the chat section in between. But here, let's just walk through the questions. Can you provide a mountain bike for me or e-mountain bike for me? Partly yes, partly no. I will tell you how and why. We have a big fleet of classical mountain bikes in our garage, so full suspension bicycles which are powered on your own power are waiting for you in our garage. If you would like to decide for e-mountain bike, We don't have them in our fleet, but we can provide them to you cooperating with our partners in the system. So generally speaking, yes, you can get provided a rental e-mountain bike as well, but classical mountain bikes are even more available because we have big fleet in our garage. What skill levels are required for the tours? I guess I have answered on that already. If we talk about touring and gravel tours, you don't need great skills. If we talk about mountain bike tours, you need some skills riding the bicycle because of the technical details on the trails. What percentage of our tracks is on cycle path versus roads? Once again, this is quite different. If we are talking about mountain bike tours, I would say more than a half or two-thirds of the tracks are away from the roads. If we move into the touring section, it is more or less 50-50. One half is away from the roads, mostly on gravel roads or on a cycling path, so away from traffic. But we also have some connections on local roads without heavy traffic. This is very important, without heavy traffic. And yeah, I will answer it a little bit later because there is a similar question somewhere. Can you rent an e-bike for any of the tours? Apart from the mountain bike tours which I have just discussed, I would like to tell you that we have many e-bikes for our touring program. So for the tours like Istria to Adriatic, Alps to Adriatic, Slovenian gourmet tours or wellness tours. In Slovenia, we have plenty of bicycles which are supported by batteries and you can get them in our agency. Are seniors accepted? Yes, of course, but it's very important to know that you must judge your fitness level considering, of course, the length of the stages we were talking about and the elevation meters, plus the weather conditions. So it's different if you are doing a daily stage with, I don't know, 20 degrees centigrade or with 30 degrees centigrade. So you must also take into account when you come. But I would say that this question about seniors and fitness level is best to be discussed individually. So you can write us, you can give us additional questions before you bring your final decision about booking the tour. Are Slovenia and Croatia safe? Yes, of course. Many people have in their minds, first of all, history from 1990s. This is all a long way behind us. The other safety issues are connected with, I don't know, what is our greatest concern in the modern world, if I use this formulation. Still, Slovenia and Croatia are let's say, far away from mainstream European destinations, and you will feel very safe here. We also rank very high on different ratings provided by different media about personal safety in the countries. And when you see these maps, Slovenia and Croatia are always colored green, which means very safe. Of course, there are always details, and we will always warn you not to leave your bicycles unattended somewhere, but this is common sense in every part of the world, I would say. And we don't have experience with bike theft in recent years, considering our agency, just to calm you down in this sense. The other safety issues or question is always connected with traffic safety. Because of the popularity of cycling in Slovenia and Croatia, the car drivers, are always quite cautious about cyclists which are met by them on the roads. Still, of course, we always suggest you to ride when you are on the road to ride one after another and not parallel, but don't expect some wild driving on a couple of centimeters away from you. So this safety concern is to be forgotten, to reassure you. What info do you provide about self-guided cycling? I have answered on that. Navigation pack, which you download on your mobile phones or navigation devices, plus the online briefing, which you will go through with me or my colleague if you will take the self-guided tour. Are the trail running tours available? I have answered on that a couple of minutes ago. The best route for self-supported bikepacking on the Transdinarica. As I said, entire Transdinarica in the Western Balkan countries is a great escape for all people who would like to do, let's say, adventurous self-cycling and bikepacking there. But considering what we were talking about in the last webinar, I would say that Slovenian and Croatian part of Transdinarica are the easiest for you because you will be alone, you will be bikepacking, but still the infrastructure around is rich enough to reassure you, let's say, enough of comfort. Although we are not talking about the same type of comfort like on other tourist tours in Slovenia and Croatia. So here you can expect some lonely landscapes. Don't expect crowds on the routes. Expect limited accommodation possibility, which we search for you if you join us, of course. But still, you will be individual, and your adventure will be, believe me, unforgettable in positive sense. How to find hotels which are bike friendly? Very easy. We do this for you with our experience and connections. So expect bright bike friendly locations to spend your nights in. Which airport should I fly to when visiting? There are plenty of airports around, so many people connect the cycling vacation in Slovenia and Croatia with maybe a little bit longer vacation or visit of Europe. So here you have around us these bigger airports like Venice, Vienna, Munich, Dubrovnik in Croatia. And locally important, if you fly in directly to join us, my first recommendation for Slovenian tours would be the capital, Ljubljana, which you can fly into, or the surrounding airports like Venice, Trieste, Graz in Austria, maybe. In Croatia, the most important airports are, of course, in the capital, Zagreb, but considering our tours, the airport in Rijeka and the airport in Split on the Dalmatian coast are very appropriate as well. About the seasons, we have discussed a lot, so I will skip that now. A typical group size on guided tours is, I would say, so we provide guided tours from 4 people on, but most of the groups have between 6 and 8 members. There are also some groups which are a little bit larger, I don't know, 10 people. In this sense, we already, because of the standards and regulation, we provide you 2 guides instead of 1 guide, because one guide can cover 8 people at once. But yeah, the typical group size, I would say 6, 7, 8 people. Best routes for beginner gravel cyclists who would like to enjoy great views. If you are the gravel beginner, I would recommend you Alpina Mediterranean Tour in Slovenia, Italy, and Croatia, or Slovenian and Croatian part of Transdinarica. Other gravel tours have a little bit more elevation gain, so you already have to be a little bit more experienced for joining them. When to sign up for a guided tour? It's not a big surprise if I say as soon as possible, mostly because the guided tours can get quite filled already in the beginning of the season. This is one reason. The other reason is the accommodation. Because of everything I've told you, we take you to the places which are not typical, let's say, tourist resorts with plenty of accommodation, but we give you opportunities to discover, let's say, more or less visited places where also, on the other hand, accommodation is limited. So this is why we recommend you to contact us sooner, as soon as possible, if you decide to join us on the guided tour. Where is the best to cycle in Slovenia in May? We have covered that more or less because of the weather, but I would say May is also a very pleasant month considering the greenery and the pleasant temperatures. So maybe in sense of landscape beauties, I would say the western part of Slovenia can be really beautiful. The Socha River Valley, because the mountains are still covered by snow. But if you stay in the valley, you will have this intense green color of your surroundings and you will enjoy the snowy mountain peaks above you. So maybe Alpina Mediterranean tour is such example which can be good in May. Plus, of course, a proximity of the Adriatic Sea because it's not too hot yet, and you can have great escapes along the Adriatic Sea. And maybe also in the east of Slovenia, the spa towns, the vineyards are already warm enough in May as well. Can you please give a description of terrain difficulty? The last question. We have discussed that mostly. The terrain difficulty is important when we talk about mountain biking tours. Once again, just to repeat in very short formulation, the trails can be technical, mostly because of stone sections or because of tree roots which you need to cross. And here it's important to have in our mind that this can change considering the weather. I don't know, if there is a drizzle or light rain, the easy tree roots can get technical very soon because they get wet. So you understand what I'm talking about. Otherwise, the terrain itself is not difficult because it's not exposed. So that would be everything I have prepared for you today or tonight, depending on your time zone. Once again, we will be very pleased if you join us because we know what we are talking about from our experience, and we know the beauties of the places which are on offer. We enjoy them, and I'm sure you will enjoy them as well. If you will have additional questions, please feel free to contact us via email for further answers. And if you missed any detail about what I was talking about, you will get the recording, which won't be very wrong if you show to someone else as well. And that's it. Thank you very much. Hvala lepa in Slovenian. And I wish you a very pleasant day and a lot of good cycling wherever you are and whenever you will have time. Bye bye. Na svidenje.